Salutations, family, and welcome back to the Electric Leaf, where it is my goal to assist you in nourishing your mind, your body, and your shoppers. I hope that you all have been doing well, especially those of us who are empaths who may frequently deal with seasonal depression. The message that I channeled to um, was to flow with the sun. Flow with the sun. Um, for some reason, I want to call the fall equinox the soul equinox. Um, and I really feel that the reason for that is because we have to activate more of our internal light. Um, because the darkness does help to trigger sadness in some of us. It's a mourning for the sun. It almost brings on a feeling of despair. But this video is not just about the seasonal allergies, so the seasonal depression. So I'll just share this with you real quick. Please make sure that you have your winter gear, you have your gloves, you have your jacket, you have your scarves, and you have your earmuffs, because God still wants us to go outside and to connect with Mother Earth. That is going to really be our bread and butter for those of us who feel the heaviness of the long nights. And it doesn't have to be as bad as we feel it is, as long as we flow with the sun, because the sun, flowing with the sun is going to help to also get our circadian rhythm into a flow. Our circadian rhythms are what help us to with our sleep and wake cycles. And with this extended night, with this extended darkness, we're going to experience third eye activations, because with being in that darkness is going to give us the opportunity to see with our spiritual eye, as long as we're able to ground ourselves and keep calm and stay attentive. Okay? A strong, steady pace. Not a fast pace, not a hurry up pace, not a push myself until I can't go no more pace, not a slow pace, not a procrastinating pace, but a strong, steady pace. Okay, now getting into this real quick, the benefits of doing shadow work. Okay, the benefits of doing shadow work, they go really deep, and I channeled this as well. I wrote a lot of this down because I really wanted it to be a little bit more on the brief side so that you can digest it better, okay? So the first reason is you get to overcome your fear of self. All right, shadow work helps us to overcome our fear of self. Now, the way I can describe being afraid of yourself, or us being afraid of ourselves, is this. Have you ever walked past something that you didn't know was reflective, and you saw a glimpse of yourself, but you didn't know you were about to see a glimpse of yourself, and it scared you, or you thought that somebody else was there, but you're like, oh, that's my reflection. Or you could be doing something and you realize, you're not paying attention to what you're doing, but you're paying attention to the feedback, whatever it may be, a shadow on the wall, or a sound, or, something like that. And you realize, oh, that sound over there is coming from me tapping my foot or shaking my leg, or writing in front of the lamp and it's catching my reflection over there, something like that. That's the same energy of getting to know ourselves, or getting to overcome our fear of self, okay? Because once you get to become once you recognize who you are, your reflection or your shadow doesn't scare you as much anymore. Now, how you get to this space where you don't scare you is through the recognition of self. Okay? Through the recognition of self. And you can't recognize yourself until you what? Know. No, you got to know yourself. You got to know, oh, that's me. That's me. Just like it's easy for us to recognize other things, other people around us. You know, I've used this example before. If you see a frog at night jumping through the yard, you know that's a frog. You see a bunny rabbit jumping at night, you know that's a bunny rabbit. If you see something dash through the sky, you know, okay, that was a bird. All right, so you've got to be able to know you and recognize yourself in that same way. And the more you get to know yourself, you know, being in that shadow space of solitude, the more we get to know ourselves, the more we are giving ourselves the opportunity to accept ourselves. True self-acceptance. True self-acceptance, it doesn't happen until we fully acknowledge us. You know, a lot of times you'll hear us saying things like, "Oh, the devil was busy. The devil did this and the devil did that." No, the devil is not busy, boo. It is your terrible attitude that's been busy. It's your tongue that's been busy. Okay, it's your anger that has been really, really pulling some overtime, graveyard shift, and everything. You know, let's be real. Let's recognize ourselves and stop trying to externalize our our power, because that's absolutely what it is. When we shift blame, we also shift power. Okay, so as we recognize ourselves, we're able to recognize triggers, and the vision that comes to mind when I'm thinking about recognizing our own triggers is a piano. I don't know if you're familiar with a piano, but a piano, you just see the instrument most of the time and you just think of the keys, you know, but those keys have an intricate little system, or not, it's not too complex, but it's an intricate little system of strings and hammers and lots of other things, but let's just stick with that. Each key is connected to strings that connect to a hammer that slaps a string. A specific string, though, that has been tuned to a certain note. And, you know, like a baby grand or a grand piano, where you can look and actually see, you know, oh, when I hit this note, that string vibrates. When I hit that note, that string vibrates. But even more so, the sound of it, the actual vibration of it. Oh, okay. These keys over here are deeper, lower tones, and these keys over here to my right are higher pitch, higher frequency, even softer. You know, you kind of got to hit those a little bit differently than you hit the ones in the middle and the end. But when you're able to recognize what is causing something on the surface, it only takes place when you're able to dive deep into those murky, watery shadows, okay, underneath, and see that, oh, this note is connected to this string down here. So a lot of spiritual practitioners would call that the root. A lot of psychologists would call that the root. You know, the root of it. The root of it. So shadow work even goes down into the root chakra. Okay? The root chakra. And even deeper than that, but I'm not going to go too deep on that in this video. But understanding those triggers, a pilot, he might not, a good pilot understands the inner workings of the airplane. A good pilot knows that this button does this, that button does that. If I tilt the steering wheel like this, this is the response that I'm gonna get. Okay, we all understand that. Driver's ed. When I was in driver's ed, my teacher took us down this road where it wasn't a lot of traffic. It wasn't any traffic on that road. It was a dead end road. And he told us to slow the car down to 20 miles per hour. 20 miles per hour. And then he took and jerked the wheel. And he said, you see how much happens when you jerk this wheel at 20 miles an hour? And it kind of made me, it scared me. It was like, wow, yes. Yes, I felt that. Please don't do that again. But the reason why he slowed us down and took us down a safe path that was a dead end, it was so that I could be taught, so that we could be taught of a trigger. What happens when you do this? So because he didn't want us to be going 50 miles per hour and jerk the wheel that way, he wanted to bring us into a safe space to help us to understand and correlate what could happen if we did that going much faster. And so it was just a lesson of safety. And that's the same thing that happens when we're in the shadows. When we're in the shadows, we're being brought to a space of safety, a place of being alone, a place of solitude, a place where we don't hurt ourselves and we don't hurt anyone else. But we're able to practice, run different scenarios down in our mind. Think about it. That is meditation. That is meditation. In order to do shadow work, it takes meditation and self-reflection. And a mirror is one of the best tools you can use in order to do this shadow work. In order to do these mirror exercises. In order to recognize what it is that you're feeling and what's inside of you. Okay? The fourth reason, the fourth benefit of doing shadow work is that you're able to truthfully express your emotions and accept your emotions, and not just your emotions, but the emotions of others. How often has someone told you about something or an experience that they may have had with you or with someone else, and you were personally triggered by someone else's emotions, thoughts, or experiences to the point where you rejected them without even realizing that you're rejecting them because they're triggering a part of yourself that you want to reject as well? So outwardly, because this is the space that we're most used to, the space that's above the surface, we, instead of dealing with ourselves and listening to ourselves, we project our feelings unknowingly out into the outside world. It happens all the time, and it's okay. You just got to recognize it. Okay? Because as you recognize it, you will begin to find the part of your personality that protects your ego. And as you do that, you'll be able to pinpoint the experience that your ego most feeds off of, or the experiences that your ego most feeds on. And your ego is most feeding on those because it wants to protect you. The ego is not bad. The ego just wants to protect you. And you'll be surprised to learn. You'll be surprised to learn that part of your personality, that part of you that is actually the source of the projection. And when I think about that, I'm the wizard comes to mind. The Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, and he's got this huge major projection of this face, like he's putting on this huge show from behind the curtain, just putting on this huge act. And I mean, everybody is scared. Like, he's got a huge reputation too, not just in the city, not just in the Emerald City, but just everywhere, all over the land. Everybody knows about the Wiz, right? But when you get down to it, it's just a man like everybody else. And that's kind of what happens with the ego. The ego, we're all just kids here that we're forced to grow up and live these adult worlds and all this responsibility. And we haven't, most of us haven't taken that time to really just love and nurture and listen to our inner child. There's so many times where my daughter and my niece, they remind me to listen to my inner child, because they can be talking to me and I'm trying to do something, and then I hear them talking, but I'm trying to finish something, and then I hear them say, "Oh, never mind." I'm like, wait, baby, wait, just wait. Give me a moment, please. And then once I acknowledge them, they're okay. And then I come to a stopping point and I give them my undivided attention. And that's exactly what we have to do for ourselves. And that is another thing that I learned from my mentor, how to be there for my inner child. Okay, and that has really helped me to calm down that ego and really help to navigate the shadow, not rebuke it, hate it, and all these things. It's the yin and the yang, okay? It's the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, the duality that creates this push-pull that makes life worth living, okay? And so with all of that, with all of those four things being so beneficial to doing shadow work, the most important and the most beautiful reason that all of those things combined bring us back to is unconditional love. Those who practice working with the shadow space and navigating the shadow space are phenomenal at unconditional love. Because, a lot of times when we get too love and light, we can get, there's a dark side of that. There's a dark side, that good vibes only, high vibes only. What do you mean? Are you kidding me right now? It's never good vibes only. Like, you've got your brothers and sisters who may be going through something, and we shouldn't ignore them, as that is a part of ourselves and they are a part of us, and we are all creating this oneness, and we are all co-creating. So when we ignore what we would label as negative vibes or low vibes, when we just simply ignore the brother, the sister that is producing those vibes, then we get a louder vibration. Because it's not necessarily that we need to per se pay attention to the negativity, but we do need to acknowledge the brother, the person, the sister. Okay? So that we can help guide them. And the way we do that is by shining our light and speaking our truth and sharing our experiences with one another, so that we all remember that we're not out here alone. Okay? Unconditional love, that love without condition. You know how many people are out here talking about unconditional love, but they won't even love themselves in certain conditions? Do you know how many people are out here that just all they want is unconditional love, but they are not certain how to give it to themselves and have not given it to themselves? They're actually, a lot of us are out here, because I've been there, done that, and I know, as I speak to a lot of people all the time, a lot of people would much rather just cover up the parts of themselves that we consider to be flaws, and pray that someone accepts this false projection. And we work so hard at that facade, and we work so hard at that smile, that we forget that we really need to be nurturing our truth, self-acceptance, overcoming that fear of being with self and only self. But yes, family, those are the 5 benefits of doing shadow work. I thank you for your time. This message has truly been something that I wanted to share with you all, and I hope that it benefits you all. Let me know, are you guys going through any type of seasonal depression, or have you ever experienced it? And are you doing your shadow work? Let me know. Until next time, family, continue to vibrate love and vibrate well. Peace.